Good morning. This is Claudette from OGRA, and thank you for joining us this morning on our webinar. We have half of our attendees online, so we're going to give people a couple extra minutes to log in and get themselves situated, and then we'll start. So please bear with us. We'll be online in approximately 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you. Good morning. So thank you for joining our webinar today. This is Claudette again from OGRA, and we are about to get started. There's still a few people who haven't registered or logged in yet, but because you've waited so patiently online, I figured we would get started. So first, thank you for joining this exciting webinar, MOOV'HUB. We are joined with Pierre, who is going to be talking to us about the COLA's solution. Pierre holds a master's in law at Paris University in France and a master in science and management of ME Lyon, France. His professional career started in Paris in business development for the COLA's group in 2014. It was based in Paris from 2014 to 2018 as the account manager, and then in Canada since 2008. Firstly, as marketing and sales manager, and then in charge of business development for innovations and First Nations relationships in support of the 10 COLA's Canada Inc. subsidiaries. Pierre works on bringing smart innovations in road and infrastructure, like roads made of solar panels, dynamic signalization, and then digital solutions for urban areas on Canadian markets. COLA's Canada Inc. holds 8,000 employees through 10 subsidiaries known under the name of Miller Group in Ontario. As a part of housekeeping, if you do have any questions, we will be addressing them at the end. We're asking you to type into the chat box. So if you want to start right now, just typing in a hi and letting us know where you're from, so we know that you can use the software. So just type in your name, type in a hi, so we can acknowledge that you have it. And then you can also type your questions directly into the chat box. And at the end of the presentation, approximately 40 minutes from now, we will address all of your questions. So I'm about to hand over to Pierre. Enjoy the presentation.
Good morning, all. Welcome. Pierre Berthet speaking. I would like, just before starting, thank you very warmly, the OGRA team, to give me the occasion to present you a bit the COLA's Canada Group and the MOOV'HUB innovations. And thank you, all of you, for attending this webinar. That's a bit new for us because that's the first time we're going to present this project outside of the country, outside of France, because this new team, Mobility by Colas, is quite new. And that's the first time we present that in Canada. So roughly, I'm gonna to give you an overview of this project, because that's a presentation of a project done in the suburbs of Paris. I'm gonna start roughly by give you an overview of who's COLA's Canada, what we're doing, how we are organized, and after I'm going to go more deep into this solution of MOOV'HUB and this project of Paris-Saclay parking as a services. I'll be helped for that with my colleague Virginie, which should be online shortly. She is currently in Paris, so she's going to give me a bit of support for some points and obviously for your questions. So let's start. So just how can I change the slides? Sorry. So to give you just a few information about COLA's Canada, who we are and what we do. So the COLA's Group is a worldwide group, head office located in Paris. We are 60,000 employees all around the world, implemented in 50 countries. And actually, the group started by the release of the patent of the bitumen emulsion in 1927. So that's the COLAS come from the contraction of the name cold and asphalt. That's not a Mr. Colas that built the company, but that's the contraction of coal the asphalt when the bitumen emulsion has been discovered. So since these times, the group evolved all around the world and grew up, especially by external growth and acquisition. The group arrived in Canada in 1964 2004, and since by the province of Quebec. And the group grows by external acquisition once again, and we cover more or less, as you can see on this chart, the world territory. To give you an idea of who's Colas Canada in terms of numbers, I gave you here a few numbers to give you a rough picture. So we are 8,000 employees. We produce a bit more than 7 million of hot mix asphalt tons. We produce our liquid asphalt tons in bitumen plants. We produce square meter of concrete in the country also, 800,000. We produce our own aggregates by our own quarries, 21 millions. We have a network of 115 asphalt plants, and we do more or less around 4,000 projects. So the main project we do are obviously road construction. We are the largest road builders in the world, and here in Canada, maybe you know us under the name, if I come back on the previous slide, under the name of the Miller Group. This is the subsidiary of Colas Canada here in Ontario. So we own our own quarries, our own asphalt plant, and we install hot mix asphalt for traditional road buildings. The location in the country, to give you an overview, so we are implemented more or less in all province and territories, and we are on a daily basis still dealing with municipalities, with the Department of Transportation and private clients. So if I go more into the topic that interests us today, I'd like to say that, first of all, regarding the core business, we launched a reflection that was in 2016 to promote new solution, or what's gonna be the mobility tomorrow. So we thought we had to dig into three axes, especially. So three axes were the smart road, what we call the smart road, so the road that could be connected, that could give information, the road that could be itself a service, and the smart mobility. So we're gonna go maybe a bit more into that point with the project we're gonna. As a provider of digital services, and this team is located at the head office in Paris, and their main activity is to integrate and operate dedicated services and technology dedicated to all levels of governments for individual users also. So what we would like to do is to explain here, to say, is that regarding the traditional core business of the group, we are launching with Mobility by Colas a new service dedicated to digital activities, digital services like digital platforms, and that's what we're going to see with this project of Paris-Saclay, and which is quite far from the historical core business, which is building roads, but is very linked to this support. Okay, let's move the slide. So, how does it work? Okay, so how can so the services provided by Mobility by Colas are several, and we're going to make the focus on one of them, on MOOV'HUB. But just before, I'd like to say a few words on Anaïs and on Viamuse also. So you can see on the slide the digital services that provide the team. So first of all, Anais is a software that that's a service that we provide uh, based on the database of information we take from drivers. So we gather all the data from the behaviors of drivers on a specific area, and that's give us an information on how the network is organized, how the people behave in some places, where they brake, where they drive too fast, where we have information on potholes and all of that. So that's dedicated to the behaviors of the drivers. We get those information from a partner, and we put all that data in a platform that give a tool to the public authority to be able to deal with the information coming from the behaviors of the drivers. So as you can see on this little scheme, um, uh, the information comes from sensors into the car and are all put in a database, and based on those results, the information is on a platform, on like an observatory for the public authority to deal with and to have the information concerning the behaviors of the drivers. That helps to especially enhance the network. We can, by that, have the information on where there's more car accident or traffic competition between bikes and trucks and cars. We can get all the information from the field, from the very risky part, or highways, or so we have all the information from the field and from the network, and especially where there's some very risky zone on which we can intervene in the future. So that's give an idea also of what is going to be the emergency in road construction or revamping of a place or a site. If this site is too risky, the public authority will be able to do the emergency work. So that's Anaïs. We have just launched a first project done for a public authority in the middle of France, and that just has been launched for the moment, so we don't have all the feedback of the public authority, but we are dealing with them on a daily basis. The second one is Viamuse. So Viamuse is especially dedicated for construction site, road construction site. So that's a tool. So that's a tool that we dedicated to public authorities, but also for road construction companies that are dealing with a project, and that create a lot of congestion around of that road construction project, for example. So we put on the same platform all the data from the planning of the road construction company, the requirement of the public authority, the requirement of the public services, the public transportation companies, to put that in common, find parking spot or others shortcuts to avoid huge congestion, and regarding the rhythm of the daily works by day, by night of the project. So we're just doing a first project in Lyon, in France, especially for the construction of an area very close for a very famous train station. So once again, we don't have so many feedback for the moment because we just launched this, we just win this project on a public tender, on a RFP, and that's really new. But we are currently monitoring the reaction of the publics, of the construction companies, and obviously of all the residents all around. So the third one is MOOV'HUB, on which we're going to go into more details with the project of Paris-Saclay. So just 1 second, I don't know how to change the slide. Okay, thank you. So we're going to go more into details on the Paris-Saclay project. So to give you just an idea, Paris-Saclay is 30 minutes southwest of Paris, more or less. That's a city. Saclay is a city where of the traditional suburbs of in France, and where we have university development of clusters, and where there's a strong political will to make of this city a new cluster for innovation, the largest cluster for France in innovation. So we estimate that in the surroundings, the population is going to be in 2020 around 500,000 people, and in 2024, 650,000 people. So that just broke up not out from nothing, but because there's already a high school, engineering, universities, large corporation installed. But we know that the population will grow very quickly and very intensely in the next years. So the public authorities need a way to solution is dedicated to, first of all, for the users, so like the people like you and me, for the public authority, the EPA, Établissement Public Administratif Paris-Saclay, and the local partners locally, which are the universities, the corporation, the real estate company, and all the shops and others, local companies. So the main offer of the parking as a services project of Paris-Saclay is, first of all, a digital experience. Everything is digital, so that's online with an app. That's give to the public authority a regulating and management tool for all the services, and that's a tool that which is a recognized solution for smart parking management. That means that you can use several parking lots in the meantime, during the week or during the weekend, to mitigate to have like a huge number of people that park in the same place, while in the meantime, the private companies, for example, that are here on the Sunday, they will have empty spaces to propose. So I just need to ask to Claudette now if I'm connected, because I have a small movie to show on YouTube. Is that correct?
You are definitely connected to the internet. So if you'd like to show it.
Can you please help me just to do it? Because so we're gonna. I would just like share with you a little movie that has been done on this project. You have YouTube. That's a short movie that just illustrates what is exactly this service. If you put MOOV'HUB in search. No. see if that's in English or not. Sorry, that's in French. So just come back. Please, what's happening with that? Just 1 second. I'm sorry. I just want to. That's in French also. Wow. I find it in. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. Yes. Okay, got it. Okay, sorry.
So give us just 1 second while we launch our screen again. We're about to push play.
Yes, so sorry, we had some bit of technical problems. I know that some of you didn't have the sound to send it the link after for watching the 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 short animation on MOOV'HUB. So if I come back on the project on what you could have seen quickly, so MOOV'HUB is a parking as a service solution that is the first step toward the mobility as a services. The objective is or are to have only one customer account, one invoice, and one pass only for all mobility services in a same area. So, for example, if you and me take the subway and then the bus and then the bike, the shared bike or carpooling, we're gonna have only one invoice, one account, customer account, one path to go from a service to another, but especially dedicated to mobility. With this pass also, I can use it for the parking spot I'm looking for in the area where I'm living or where I'm working. So that's a single place where all the services are integrated. Um, that's key for the municipality or the public authority, a single place of a platform, a real dashboard within the city limits to have an overview in real time of the mobility. So we're going to have, for example, the information regarding the peak hours, the traffic flows, if bikes are missing in the public bike sharing or for the carpooling, for example, or for the public transportation. We're going to have in real time an overview, and we can obviously adapt this level or these needs of transportation in real time. So we can add our buses, subways, etc. So in the real world, we're going to have, as you can see on the slide, an app on which you're going to have, you can use on every devices, and you can use also the MOOV'HUB website to deal with this service. So that's a live access to the urban mobility dashboard for the users, but also for the municipality and all the partners. So that's on the app, the users will be able to book a bike or know when the bus will arrive, and so that's and pay online, and they're gonna be able to have on the same app, same tool, all the information and all the tools. So that's the interface we use that we develop with the public authority, and so that's the interface for the public and private connected parking lot, the mobility service, public transportation, and the different shared mobility service existing into Paris-Saclay and urban services. Is it this one or yeah. Okay, so that's the partnership between Mobility by Colas, the consortium actually, and I'm going to go more into details with that. That's a 5 years innovative partnership between the public authority and the consortium, among them Mobility by Colas. So we are now after 1 year of the first stage. There's two stages actually. So the first stage is research and development for during 2 years. To That's a co-creation of relationship, contract, and research and development together with the public authority. We define exactly what they're expecting, what they want as a service, and after we put that in place. But the first 2 years are really research and development to develop the service and define the business model. Then we're gonna have another stage, which is gonna be the exploitation stage, to run the full service during the 3 years. So that's a very particular financing and legal approach. There's a first investment by the public authority locally, especially to connect the territory, because this part of Paris-Saclay was not connected and linked by wires, and so there's public investment at the very beginning. I put e-connect on the slide because that's really to put fibers and especially to connect all the city, especially the future city. So this part, the buildings, the residential development, schools, and corporation. So there's an investment from the public, and us after the consortium come and install all the service of development. So that's really a co-creation and a co-investment too. But for the public authority, that's just a traditional investment in creating a network of for internet and telephone connections. For the private investments, so that us, the consortium, we're going to install and provide the service. We also could do that because we use, and that's the French public market that is or public bids tender that is like that. We have innovative contracts that allow to not be in a traditional scheme of the low bidders form. That was a contract that the public authority decided to do on the base of what we call in French partenariat d'innovation. So that's innovative partnership with a specific negotiation, because we are building something together that doesn't exist before. So that's a really specific contract, and I know that there's a lot of public funds dedicated to innovation here in Canada too, especially at the provincial level, but also at the municipal level, and at the federal level too. So, and the contract obviously is a contract of services. So that's a digital service that we provide, which is for us quite yet new regarding the history of the group that is doing road work construction, traditional road work construction. So method and resource, to give you an idea, so we're gonna implement the connection of public and private parking spots. For the parkings areas, we have 3,000 spots of parking to equipped to connect with sensors, and so we developed this communication plan for the territory. So for Paris-Saclay area, and this plan is very important, especially for the public authority, for the communication with the users, the final users, for the politicians, and for the external communication. So that's a plan that is, as you can see, divided on several by quarters and several steps. So first of all, obviously, that started 1 year ago. We are in 1 year, Q3 2019 now, almost. So the first step was obviously to connect the road implementation, create the mobility hub. After we started the first shared parking, we launched the first shared parking where traditionally people didn't used to go in those parking lots, or this one especially, because they were used to go in another place. So now they have been informed that all different parking lots will be able to be shared. So we move on with the innovative experimentation with also premium parking spot options. So obviously, for the people that are living there or very more close, they can have premium spot parking, especially that's parking spots that are reserved, booked for them for a certain period of time. That could be for months, for several months, maybe for a year or more. After we do a concrete analysis of the behaviors, and we launch another program to optimize the parking management. And step by step like that till 2021. So after we have progressively, we're going to have an overview of the global road network and the underground parking available spot and the multimodality regarding the others mobility services. We're going to improve also the dedicated for parking spot regulation because of this experience, because we're gonna have a dashboard of all the parking spots in the meantime, how that works, what are the flows, and how it is exactly, and how we can improve that regarding the small history we have at 2 years progressively. And we're gonna integrate new services progressively into the MOOV'HUB service. So we're gonna, and finally, we're gonna also integrate services for people with reduced mobility, or we have to integrate also population with reduced mobility to make sure they're gonna have also access to all the services at the same level of the others. So this plan is also supported by the consortium, and that's the next slide. So this consortium was the one that proposed the offer to the public authority. So we have obviously Colas, that is the integrator of all of that, that's the leader, and also the operator of one of the operators. So that's you have in each pieces of the puzzle the more details on who's doing what. So Zenpark is a startup locally implemented that is dealing with the question of the booking access and the available and the payment of the spaces, parking spaces and parking spots. We have parking map services, which is a company that help us to lead us to the spots where available spots. They install a lot of video sensors, and so they give us the information on how to go from where I am to the parking spot available. Nokia, that I guess that all of you know, which is a very known company in telecom, and Open Data Soft, which provides services on that's the use of the data collected from the behavior of the users, the available parking spot regarding the time of the day and all of that. So that's a consortium of 5 companies to create like an open innovation project with a public authority that was willing to develop that service for the users. So just to finish, I'd like to say that MOOV'HUB, and that's the service, is an innovative partnership, as you've seen. This is an innovation that is really turned toward the mobility as a service, and that's one of the 3 ongoing experience currently in France of mobility as a service. That's one of these 3 experience of mobility as a service. So that's an open-up approach of parking and mobility, as you've seen, and we're going to progressively integrate all the services and in time, that's a digital experience very user oriented, because the user will have only one path for all the mobility services, including parking, one invoice, and one account only. And that's a management tool for the public authority that will be able to, with this dashboard, to have in real time all the information. And that's a B2B, 2C oriented business model. So I think I'm good. Just, yes, that's it. So look, I would like to thank you very much. If I've not been clear, I hope you're gonna have questions, and I hope that my colleague Virginie is around for the support. So maybe let's open the Q&A period of time, or I don't know, Claudette, how are you gonna do?
So your colleague is online.
Okay.
If she has any feedback or insight, she can definitely unmute herself. If anyone in the audience has any questions, feel free to type it in the chat. It looks like no one has any questions at this particular point in time, but we do have some time left in the webinar. So if you want to think about some of the information, take a quick review. And if we have any insight or feedback from Pierre's colleague, because she is definitely online.
Okay.
And she can just unmute herself and speak if she chooses to.
Can we unmute her or?
Unmute.
Okay.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Thank you for the presentation, Pierre. If I just wanted to, just 2 words, I wanted to add to what Pierre said that Mobility by Colas is actually an independent actor, because we integrate mobility services, but we are not an operator, like a public transport operator or another service parking operator, and so on. So we are really independent, and that's why we can give to the local authority a real tool, a regulation tool, in order to help them observe and manage the mobility on the territory, and also to regulate all the mobility services that are implanted on the territory, like bikes, bike sharing, public transport, or even car sharing, and so on. So that's just a few words I wanted to add to Pierre's presentation.
Do we have any questions from the audience, maybe?
It appears that no one has any questions at this time. We do have another 11 minutes before 12 o'clock, so we will definitely give you guys a couple of minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to mute ourselves for about a minute or two so you guys can think about any questions that you have. Feel free to chop it into the questions panel or in the chat panel. Either one of those will do. And so we're going to mute ourselves for, let's say, 2 minutes, and then we'll come back to you. Hello again. So it appears that no one has a email. The email will include a PDF copy of the PowerPoint presentation. We'll also provide you with an email or contact information for Pierre and his colleague. And we will also send out a link to the YouTube video that we had some sound issues with. Thank you for your time. Have yourself an excellent day. The webinar will be closing.